Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is Tanner Fishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the character of Harumi in Ninjago Crystallized once again, and a certain theory surrounding her return that does make sense to some extent, but it's a theory that I don't really agree with necessarily. And the theory in question regards Harumi having Oni powers, and again, it's not one that I agree with, but I figured I could take today's video to discuss my thoughts on that very theory. Before we dive on into today's video though, I must give you guys a very heavy spoiler warning. This video will indeed contain spoilers for episodes 13 and 14 of Ninjago Crystallized. We do have the entirety of episode 13 in English, but we don't have episode 14 all the way through in English just yet, only a small part of that episode. However, as I've mentioned in a previous video, which I will link down below in the description, the episode itself gives us a lot to talk about regarding Harumi and her intentions. This video is going to be responding to the comment section of that video, so you might want to check out that video before you watch this one. Just figured I'd let you guys know before we dive into the conversation even further. So to summarize my perspective, long story short, I feel like Harumi is being controlled or manipulated by the Overlord, otherwise known as the Crystal King. I feel like he has some type of grasp over her, and many of the decisions that we're seeing in Ninjago Crystallized so far are not of Harumi's free will, rather they are a result of her being controlled by the Overlord. And reading through my comment section of that video, some of you guys agreed with that statement, some people did not, and obviously that's totally okay. It just gets a discussion rolling, all's good here. However, I would like to discuss another popular narrative that I've seen in my comment section, that of course being the idea that Harumi has Oni power. And I'm not really sure where to begin with this, because Harumi having Oni power, I'm not sure if that would work in this season specifically. From what I've seen, the idea goes that after Harumi was revived by the Overlord, she was given Oni power. It was just gifted to her by the Overlord, and since Oni power represents anger and hatred, Harumi is just taking advantage of that power and amplifying her own feelings of hatred and anger even more. Again, long story short here, this theory proclaims that Harumi is not being controlled or manipulated, rather she is doing this all under her own intention through Oni power. I can totally see where people are coming from in suggesting that Harumi has Oni power and that's why she's acting so weird this season. Those evil feelings that we saw during the Oni trilogy are being amplified here thanks to the Oni power gifted to her by the Overlord. Again though, I'm not really sure if I can agree with that idea. I much more prefer the idea that Harumi is being controlled by the Overlord himself. I mean, sure, we saw the Overlord giving Harumi strength after he revived her, and that could be a sign that maybe he passed Oni power to her, but I can also see that as a sign that now that connection is already implanted within Harumi. Again, there's no guarantee that Harumi received Oni power, aside from the fact that she does have the same colored eyes that Lloyd has when he activates his Oni power, but again, that could be a multitude of things. It could be Oni power, but it could also be the influence of the Overlord. Could it be Oni power though? I mean, sure, I'm not debunking that idea entirely. Stranger things have happened in Ninjago before, so I don't think Oni power being inside Harumi can be completely wiped away here. However, I feel like Harumi being controlled by the Overlord would fit the narrative of Ninjago Crystallized a lot better, dare I say. I still side with the idea that Harumi is being controlled by the Overlord, because why else would she be hesitating? As we saw during episode 14 when Harumi announced her master plan to kill the ninja, Lloyd started to discuss the goodness in Harumi, proclaiming that she really didn't want anybody to get hurt, and after that was out there, we saw Harumi hesitate. She kind of dropped her head in sadness. After that though, Harumi's eyes grew evil again, and evil Harumi was kicked back into overdrive. Again, if she wasn't being controlled by the Overlord here, why else would she be hesitating? Was she just waiting for that Oni power to kick in again to enhance those evil feelings? And why else did she seem so sad during that moment, and why does she seem to apologize so much in this episode, as some other people pointed out in my comment section as well? Any and all hesitation by Harumi could easily be dismissed by the Overlord, because the Overlord has one plan here, and Harumi's mixed emotions do not really support that plan. As such, the Overlord has a bond with Harumi that can't really be broken, and he can easily control her feelings. Some would argue then why Harumi didn't need to be controlled physically during episode 13 when she hesitated, but simply put, that was just because Lloyd was not in her presence just yet. After seeing Lloyd physically, talking with him physically, and hearing what he had to say, I think Harumi came to her senses one more time, before obviously being pushed through by the Overlord. I see this situation as Harumi does have feelings for Lloyd, she does have that feeling of redemption in her, she wants to be a good character, she wants to be a good person once again, but the Overlord's control and influence are pushing her to do all these bad things. So far in Crystallized, we've seen her as a villain who deep down desires to be good, in my opinion. I mean, sure, she did bad things independently during the Oni trilogy, obviously, because she was a villain during that time. Every villain in Ninjago has done bad things before, but many villains have also been redeemed. As I've mentioned in previous videos, Garmadon doesn't really seem to have a problem getting redeemed in the eyes of the Ninjago series and the community, but Harumi, for some reason, Harumi's a different story. As I've said though, Harumi seems to be on that path of redemption. We've even seen Lloyd recognize that she doesn't really want to be evil by nature. At the end of the day, I'm still on the side of Harumi being controlled by the Overlord. Any and all feelings of hesitation that Harumi has can easily be pushed through by the Overlord's influence. I don't think it's a sign that Harumi has Oni power. I can see where people are coming from in saying that, but I don't really agree with that statement. And also, my idea of Harumi being controlled or manipulated could be entirely wrong as well. I'm not really sure sure what's going to be happening just yet. All we can do right now is speculate until the episodes actually do come out, but regardless of what happens, I am just very curious to see how this season treats Harumi, and as long as the story is good, I'm on board with whatever happens. So with that being said, guys, thank you all so much for watching today's video. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Again, could Harumi have Oni power deep down? Sure, maybe, but do I think it's something else entirely, i.e. manipulation or being controlled by the Overlord? Yes, most definitely. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I appreciate you guys tuning into this one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again later. Peace.